Over 100 companies moved their headquarters to Dallas-Fort Worth between 2018 and 2024. That's more than Austin and Houston combined. For decades, Houston was a petroleum powerhouse. Austin brought in tech startups. Today, Fort Worth is quietly becoming the other half of the state's new economic juggernaut. Stick around, I'll show you why the entire Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is becoming the economic capital of Texas and what all this growth means for your next move right here in Fort Worth. Here's what most people get wrong about big cities in Texas. Each one has always had its corporate role, right? Houston was all about energy, oil and gas. Austin was innovation, the tech hub and startup capital. Fort Worth and Dallas were business and the Cowboys kind of in the background. Not today. For years, people would say that Houston was the biggest economy in Texas, and it was. Austin, Texas made headlines during the pandemic when Tesla set up manufacturing along with Oracle setting up shop. But here's what got missed. The entire Dallas-Fort Worth area has been quietly building something much more powerful. The success is grounded in having many major companies across a variety of industries. Dallas-Fort Worth became the #1 destination in the entire United States for corporate headquarter relocations. But this shift didn't happen overnight. Understanding why DFW won the corporate relocation race reveals everything about where Texas is headed economically, which is good. It's actually amazingly good. Between 2018 and 2024, over 100 companies announced moves to North Texas. Compare that to Austin, which had 81 relocations during the same period, and Houston, which had 31. Dallas-Fort Worth combined simply beat both of them. In that same time frame, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metro has seen an average of somewhere between 120 to 180,000 people per year relocating to DFW. These are massive multi-billion-dollar companies making huge commitments to our area. Charles Schwab moved its headquarters from San Francisco to Westlake. In 2023, Goldman Sachs began construction of their massive 800,000 square foot campus in Dallas, which will bring in over 5,000 employees. And what started out as a $500 million headquarters has surpassed $700 million as of September. That's more revenue pouring into the North Texas economy. Toyota relocated its headquarters to Plano. Caterpillar, the heavy machinery company, moved from Deerfield, Illinois to Irving, Texas. McKesson moved from San Francisco to Las Colinas, Texas, which these are all little suburbs between Dallas and Fort Worth. These are full headquarters with thousands of employees bringing great incomes, and they are buying homes. These types of big corporate moves can completely transform neighborhoods, especially here on the west side of the Metroplex in Fort Worth and Tarrant County. In 2024, the business climate and access to consumer bases were the top reasons companies cited for relocation, which makes sense, right? Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. Plus, Texas has no state income tax, a very low cost of doing business, and Fort Worth has the infrastructure to support massive corporate campuses. These companies are making multi-billion-dollar commitments, which means incredible job security and career growth right here in Dallas-Fort Worth. The solid foundation of Fortune 500 headquarters sets up the infrastructure advantage that separates Dallas-Fort Worth from every other Texas city. This is where Fort Worth and Dallas leave Houston and Austin in the dust. This wasn't luck, it's logistics and strategy built over decades. Dallas-Fort Worth Airport is a major factor. As of 2024, it was the third busiest airport in the world for total passenger traffic. It handled over 68,000 metric tons of international cargo in 2024. If you're a major company, you need to move goods and people, you need connectivity. Dallas-Fort Worth maintains robust partnerships with major cargo carriers like FedEx, UPS, American Airlines Cargo. Fort Worth is also home to the Alliance Global Logistics Hub, which is a 9,600 acre inland port. Dallas-Fort Worth's central location in the U.S. allows for nonstop services to major cargo markets all around the world. You have major interstate connections running right through the heart of the Fort Worth-Dallas area. It's a no-brainer. Compare that to Austin. Austin is great for startups. Cool city, university town, it's young, hip, it's got the vibe. But when you're talking about massive corporate operations, logistics, infrastructure, and global connectivity, Dallas-Fort Worth wins hands down. Houston has the Port of Houston, but it's coastal, heavily tied to oil and gas. Fort Worth sits right in the middle of endless room to build. I've been watching the development in Denton and Collin County. These areas are absolutely exploding with master plan communities, corporate campuses, and mixed-use developments. There's space to grow here in a way that Austin and Houston just don't have anymore. The infrastructure advantages, it's not abstract, it's operational efficiency, and it means you can actually live near work without sacrificing space or quality of life. This combination of logistics and livability directly feeds into why Dallas-Fort Worth built the most balanced economy in Texas. This is what no one talks about. The specific reason DFW is so much stronger. Houston and Austin are strong economies, but they have vulnerability in ways that we just don't. Houston still runs primarily on energy, oil, and gas. Its economy is energy heavy, which makes it subject to oil price fluctuations. When oil prices are high, Houston booms. When they drop, Houston struggles. That can be a volatile cycle. Austin is driven by startups and tech. During the pandemic, Austin was the hottest market in the country, but now their economy is tech startups concentrated, which makes it vulnerable to venture capital and tech market volatility. We saw this in 2022 and 23 when tech companies started laying off people and venture capital areas started to suffer and lay people off. Austin's growth cooled. Here in Fort Worth and Dallas, we have a wonderfully balanced economy across a huge range of sectors. Finance, Schwab, Goldman Sachs, and many more. Defense like Lockheed Martin and Bell Textron. Logistics, Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway headquarters is here. Healthcare with companies like Alcon, JPS Health, Cook Children's, Texas Health Resources is huge. We have major retail, tech, corporate services. We've got a micro Hollywood in Alliance thanks to Taylor Sheridan. This diversification creates steady, predictable growth and reduces volatile cycles. When one sector has a downturn, the others keep the economy moving ahead. This balanced economy provides security, which is great for you. When tech crashes or oil drops, Fort Worth keeps moving. That directly impacts the housing market we're about to jump into. Where the economy goes, housing follows. This is exactly what I'm seeing every single day. Corporate relocations mean buyers with purchasing power. When Goldman Sachs brings 5,000 employees, they need a place to live. When Charles Schwab moves thousands of employees from San Francisco, these people are buying homes in nice areas. Because Fort Worth and Dallas are more accessible than San Francisco, New York, or even Austin in some cases, these buyers have serious purchasing power. Right now, the median sales price in Fort Worth is about $320,000. In the broader Tarrant County, the median price is around $350,000. The Fort Worth housing market is seeing about 58% of its homes selling below list price, with the median sale to list ratio sitting at 0.98%. This means buyers have negotiating power. My clients are using that power to negotiate incredible deals. For all of 2025, I've seen an increase in concessions from the seller back to you as the buyer. You can use that money towards closing costs or rate buydowns. The long-term story here is about stability and appreciation. Moving into 2026, Dallas-Fort Worth was named a top market for real estate. The Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex has the second highest rate of new apartments being built in 2025 in the US, only behind New York City. We are building to meet demand, which keeps the market balanced. If you are closer to the job centers of Fort Worth, like where Lockheed Martin or Bell Textron are, or along the growth corridors of the suburbs, you're seeing better stability. Fort Worth remains one of the most resilient housing markets in the country. Forget the doom and gloom videos you see about a market crash. You have to look at the hyper-local market. Areas in Fort Worth are showing strength and stability, which signals a strong and stable real estate market traditionally. This housing stability is backed by the massive economic foundation of the entire region. Here's the number that really puts everything in perspective. The Dallas-Fort Worth metro area has a GDP of around $844 billion. The entire metro area ranks 5th amongst all U.S. metros for GDP in the entire country. What is even more impressive is that Dallas-Fort Worth had 3.2% real GDP growth in 2023, outpacing the United States average of 2.7. We're not just big, we're growing faster than the national average. Combine a growing population with massive GDP and strong economic growth, and you get housing demand, business expansion, and infrastructure investment. If you're relocating, you're moving to one of the largest job markets in America. If you're investing, you're buying into a metro area that's outgrowing national averages. This foundation supports everything we're seeing with future development. If you think the growth is going to slow down, you'd be wrong. Dallas-Fort Worth Airport is always expanding, adding new gates, new routes, capacity, and a whole new terminal. The airport is basically a city in itself and a massive economic driver for Fort Worth. Even in the northern suburbs, projects like Fields and Frisco are a 2,500-acre master planned community with over 14,000 residences. Places like Prosper and Salina are growing at rates that are hard to believe. I'll show you how Fort Worth is maintaining culture and amenities even with this explosive growth when we talk about the quality of life. Fort Worth is strategically positioning itself for the next decade of growth. Houston will always be energy. Austin will always be startups. Fort Worth and Dallas-Fort Worth are becoming the economic powerhouse because we're balanced, strategic, and built for long-term sustainable growth. This future development isn't speculative. These are funded projects with completion dates, and they create the investment confidence that's driving the market right now. Here's what corporate executives actually care about when they relocate thousands of employees. It's not just the spreadsheets and logistics, it's whether their people will actually want to live here. Fort Worth offers an incredible quality of life. You've heard me talk about the old stomping grounds near the Culture District, 7th Street, home to the Kimball Art Museum, the Modern Art Museum of Fort Worth, and the Amon Carter Museum of American Art. You got the historic stockyards, Sundance Square in downtown Fort Worth, the Trinity Trails, miles of hiking and biking, host tons of free events, festivals, there's food trucks, live music, and you can buy a house with a yard and have a short commute. Quality of life here is really hard to beat. When companies are deciding where to relocate, that matters. Executives want to know their employees are going to be happy, that they can live near work and have access to entertainment. Fort Worth delivers on all of that. I want to make this practical. Whether you're relocating for work, trying to invest in real estate, or already here trying to understand what's happening, this is the bottom line. You're not chasing a trend. Fort Worth is in the middle of a fundamental economic transformation. From corporate relocations, infrastructure advantages, and economic diversity, these multi-billion-dollar commitments are creating true long-term opportunities. For those of you thinking about relocating, you're moving to a city with strong economic growth and a balanced economy that doesn't depend on any singular industry. Your career isn't tied to oil prices or venture capital cycles. For investors, look at areas near corporate headquarters and major employment centers like the Alliance Corridor, North Fort Worth, the Arlington Mid-Cities area, and the suburbs along the growth corridors. That's where housing demand is staying strong. Now, is this growth sustainable, or is Fort Worth just having a moment? Companies like Goldman Sachs don't spend hundreds of millions on a campus for a short-term play. These are strategic decisions based on decades of planning. Fort Worth and Dallas have positioned themselves as the most diversified, most connected, and most strategically located metro for corporate headquarters in the United States. I've lived here for almost 50 years. I work here, I invest here, I help families move here every single week. Every data point I see shows Dallas-Fort Worth continuing to dominate as the economic capital of Texas. This is no one-hit wonder. We're writing the next chapter of the Texas economy. Understanding that distinction is crucial for anyone making decisions about where to live or invest. Here's the bottom line. Fort Worth built something sustainable through strategic growth. We have world-class infrastructure with endless room to expand. If you're thinking about moving to Fort Worth or investing where growth is actually happening, now is a really good time to explore that, or at least get all of your questions answered. Again, shoot me a text. Our phone number is on the screen right now and in the description below, pinned in one of the comments. We would love to have a conversation about helping you with your next move. That's all for now. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.